2011, Logomotion, the 20th anniversary of FIRST Robotics, making a difference in kids' lives. And this year, we were playing with inflatable pool floats that were in the shape of a triangle, circle, and square, FIRST logo. You had to score these on this very high rack. We built a robot that we thought was going to play well. And the end game for this was very clever, that you carried a second baby robot in the bowels of your machine, and you had to deploy this robot and had to climb a 10-foot pole and strike a target at the top first to win. And so that was a huge challenge, and we let the magic smoke out of so many motors in development on that. And you know, once the smoke comes out, the smoke doesn't go back in.
Not go back in. Yeah, I think one of the things, a couple things we learned in that game. The first was that we had originally thought that the game would be played by running from the human player station back to the placement locations, and discovered very quickly that that's not how the game was being played on the field. That we thought there would be a starvation strategy where they would only place tubes on the field when they had a partner robot to take it and put it in place. It turns out that people just flung all the logos onto the field to be picked up at random.
And I think for our first event, we couldn't really pick up off the floor.
We could not. And they were all over the floor, and we stared at them, and we couldn't do much with them. They actually got in the way of us going to pick up ours at the driver's station.
Yeah, and we still did well. But
yeah, we did okay.
We needed to make a change, and we learned that year with the kids that we had to pivot quickly, and you could only make so many parts, and the mini bot was developing for teams where they had them jumping off track with magnets and
and again, I think the key on that was that in week one we thought 15 seconds was a really fast time for getting the mini bot up the 10-foot pole. You couldn't touch the pole until 15 seconds to go, and then you had to hit it before the end of 15 seconds. So anything less than 15 seconds seemed like a win, but the guy who gets there first gets the most points.
Right.
And we discovered that over the course of the first couple of weeks, it went from 15 to 7 to 3 to 1. There were robots that were able to get a mini bot timed exactly right so that it would shoot off with a great deal of momentum, hit the pipe, and go shooting up the pipe.
Held on by a magnet.
And we were certainly competitive with that, but we probably went through 20 different iterations of that design. Started out with a mechanical gripper, very light. We thought that would be good. Turns out the mechanical gripper was just too restrictive,
right.
And that magnets holding it to the pole worked far more effectively.
And as soon as we would stall the motors, then the smoke would come out.
Oh, magic smoke!
That's another.
So the other thing we learned, if you remember, we discovered with our previous experience with inner tubes that pressure makes a difference. So we steered away from suction cups and built an incredible gripping arm, like a great big Tyrannosaurus Rex
using
mouth.
the yellow round tubing. Yeah, it was really great.
And it not only allowed us to pull the tubes in by running the belts in, but by running the belts in counter directions, we were able to change the angle of the logo, the inner tube, in the jaw. So we were able to manipulate it, take it in, push it out, and that worked extremely well.
Right, and then we actually extended that after our first competition, and were able to reach the ground, and were able to pick tubes up very quickly.
Yep.
The mini bot got better and better, and we got down to the Chesapeake. I don't think it was at the Naval Station at that time. It was closer to Baltimore in the convention center.
Yep.
We needed a win to qualify for nationals. And it got down to the very last match, and we were in the finals, and weren't sure if we were going to make it, and yet we got the score we needed. Minibot went up, hit first, and we won that match, and made our way to, I guess, St. Louis at that point. That was the first year of St. Louis.
And we did well at St. Louis. We made it to the quarterfinals of our division.
Yep.
So we made it into the elimination tournament. Out of the 100-odd robots, we were in the eliminations, but got knocked out in the quarterfinals.
Right.
Pretty competitive robot from, again, a robot that had very little performance in its first week of operation to one that made it all the way to the quarterfinals.
Great season.
Yeah, fun season.